Good morning, boys and girls. Today we will read a very special story, but before we read this story, let's talk about what we need to focus on when we read today. So first, we need to ask questions. If I don't understand something that happens in a story, I can ask myself a question. That might help. The answer might be in the words or in the pictures. Okay, so first ask questions. Second, we're going to look for important details. Okay, important details could be in the pictures or in the words. Now, details are the small things that maybe not all readers will notice, but you have to pay very close attention in order to notice. Okay, so I'll pay very special attention to the things that happen in the story. This helps me to know more about the characters and about what actually happens in the story. You listen and do that too. Okay, then at the very end of our story, we will ask more questions. So the title of this story is The Enormous Turnip. Once upon a time, a farmer planted a turnip seed, and this is what he said to it. Grow, turnip, grow! Grow big and grow strong. The turnip heard, and it did. What did the turnip do? It heard the farmer, and it grew up big and grew up strong. Very good. It grew into a big, huge, enormous turnip. In fact, some who saw it say it was the biggest, strongest turnip in the land. Now, as you may know, or as you may not know, a turnip is a vegetable that grows like a carrot. It grows with its leaves sticking up out of the ground and the eating part under the ground. When it is ready to eat, it must be pulled up out of the ground by its top. So knowing how turnips grow will help you to understand the story better, won't it? One day, the farmer decided that the turnip was big enough to pull up and eat. First, he gave it a tug, and then he gave it a pull, and then he gave it a yank, but the turnip stayed stuck in the ground. Why do you think the farmer couldn't pull the turnip out of the ground? Was it because it was too big? So what can he do now? What would you do? Well, he's got a lot of options. He's got very many things that he could do. If I was the farmer, I would ask for some help. What do you think this picture tells? Do you think he took my advice? Asking for help? I think so. The man then called his wife, who was milking the cow. Wife, please come and help. I want to pull our enormous turnip out of the ground so we can eat it, but it's stuck. The woman put her arms around her husband's waist and held fast. 1, 2, 3, they said together, and gave a mighty pull. But the turnip didn't budge from its place in the ground. So the woman called her granddaughter, who was feeding the chickens. Granddaughter, please come and help. We want to pull our enormous turnip out of the ground so we can eat it. But it's stuck. The granddaughter put her arms around the woman, who held fast to her husband, who held on to the top of the turnip. 1, 2, 3, they said together, and pulled as hard as they could, but the turnip was still stuck in the ground. Then the granddaughter called the black dog that was sleeping in the sun. Black dog, come and help. We want to pull our enormous turnip out of the ground so we can eat it, but it's stuck. How do you think a dog can help? Will they get the turnip out? Well, maybe the dog could help pull I think that is kind of a make-believe thing if the dog could actually pull with his paws, his front paws. Okay, so let's keep reading. The black dog grabbed the coat of the girl, who held on to the woman, who held fast to her husband, who held on to the top of the turnip. Do you see how the puppy's actually pulling? He's pulling with his mouth. 1, 2, 3, they said together, and pulled as hard as they could, but the turnip was still stuck in the ground. Now the black dog called the orange cat that was sitting in a tree. Woof! Orange cat, please come and help. We want to pull our enormous turnip out of the ground so we can eat it, but it's stuck. This time, on the count of 3, the cat pulled the dog's tail, who pulled on the coat of the girl, who pulled on the woman, who held fast to her husband, who held on to the top of the turnip. They all pulled as hard as they could, but the turnip was still stuck in the ground. Finally, the orange cat called a tiny little mouse that was watching from a safe distance. A mouse? Do you think a little mouse could be much help getting the enormous turnip unstuck? I don't know. He's kind of small. So let's find out. A little mouse, please come and help. We want to pull our turnip out of the ground so we can eat it, but it's stuck. Do you promise you won't eat me? Asked the tiny mouse. We promise, said the rest. So the mouse pulled on the cat's tail, who pulled on the dog's tail, who pulled on the coat of the girl, who pulled on the woman, who held fast to her husband, who held on to the top of the turnip. They all pulled as hard as they could. 1, 2, 3, they counted together, and pulled as hard as they could. And guess what? Out came the turnip with a loud pop. Hurrah! They all cheered. The woman then cooked the enormous turnip for her family, and she even gave a bit of it to all the animals who helped. But she saved the sweetest part for the little mouse. Do you think it was the little mouse that finally made the turnip come out of the ground? Well, maybe. Maybe the mouse was just strong enough and gave the right amount of pull to get the turnip unstuck. Okay. So why was the turnip so hard to pull up? That's correct, because it was so enormous. It was big. It was huge. Those are all 3 words that mean the same thing. Enormous, big, and huge. It was a big turnip. Now, who helped the farmer pull the enormous turnip? Very good. His wife, his granddaughter, the black dog, the orange cat, and the little mouse all helped the farmer pull the turnip out of the ground. So which animal helped at the very end? Very good. It was the mouse who finally got the turnip out of the ground. Okay, now have fun, and I will see you later.